So the real question is to co-borrower or not to co-borrower, Bill? Is that
Yeah,
what I'm hearing?
that's exactly what you're hearing.
That's a great question. So I'm going to take it back to when I was training reps on how to have this conversation. So the easiest way to have the conversation is as soon as you have Mr. and Mrs. Jones ready to move forward with that project. It's as simple as, all right, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, who wants to be the main applicant? Who wants to be first on the application? So one of two things are going to happen. So first, in the most optimal scenario, they both have good credit, right? So let's say the one spouse has a higher credit score, be like, oh, I have a higher credit
Yeah,
score. I'm going to go first. So
right,
it's a really fun moment and it kind of lightens mood, makes the situation a little bit better, right?
right.
So that is ultimate what you want, right? The other thing what you want to hear is, hey, do you know what? I'm working, I make the money, but this person they have better credit than I do, which is totally fine. So here's how I recommend to set up the application. So what's really cool about our platform, we have it set up with no matter who is first, that total income is going to be counted once it gets to the lender of whoever it is. Because some lenders will only ask for household income, some will ask for separated out income.
Right.
So if you get into the habit of always putting two applicants on there, our platform is smart enough to combine it for the main, first look lenders who go for household income. But in the scenario where they don't qualify, but they're still eligible for a loan, this way you don't have to worry about having some communication errors with the secondary
Yeah.
lender because they do want to see everything broken down, right? So big takeaways here. So when it comes to having a co-borrower, I always recommend it because you're going to get higher approvals. And with the ability of our platform, we can make that happen. If Mr. and Mrs. Jones is, forthcoming with what their situation is, you want to put the main applicant with the higher credit score first. If they don't have any income, that's fine. Still put them on there first and put 0 income, whatever their income is, and then put the secondary bar on there and you put their income, and then we'll be able to add up all that additional household income for you. So at that situation, we're gonna get a higher approval both on the first look, and if it does go to a secondary or third look lender, we'll be able to make that cleaner so there's less things that you need to worry about as a rep and or a company in that situation.
Awesome. Awesome. One question that comes up a lot too is what is the responsibility of a co-borrower? So when they hop on that application as a co-borrower, sometimes there's the misunderstanding that they don't have the same responsibility as the primary borrower.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, they need to provide, blood and urine samples. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, just, co-borrowers and borrowers, that's a fun word to say. So when it comes to, I'm just going to call them applicants because it's easier to, so whether you're the main applicant or co-applicant, each person is liable for that loan, right?
Yep.
So it really doesn't matter. I know the perceived value of it matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Because whoever signs on a loan is responsible to pay that loan back at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if you're listed first and or second. It doesn't change anything. How it reports on your credit report, it doesn't change that at all.
Gotcha.
So it's an old perceived thing.
Awesome. When it comes to the credit status of um maybe say it's a daughter, or maybe it's not necessarily the person's living with the primary applicant. Is how does that come into fact with a co-application?
Yeah, and every lender is going to look at that a little bit different, right?
Okay.
So, when it comes to more of a prime situation, whether you own the house or not is not as important, right? Because they're looking more of just like what your credit score is, if you qualify. Now, when it comes to secondary, third look lenders, you will need to have somebody who lives in that home,
Right.
right? And in some cases, that co-borrower might need to live there, or they might not. It all depends, you know. But for best case scenarios, let's say you do get a decline in the house, whether that, like I said, our platform does have multiple looks down to 550. So if that person's not approved, unfortunately, nobody will be able to approve them. But in this situation, you want to make a best practice of, saying, all right, Bill, unfortunately, we didn't find any offers for you today. That doesn't mean we can't still move forward with it.
Right.
So a couple different things we can look at is there anybody else that could maybe co-sign on the loan for you to help get this project done? Right.
Right.
And at that point, even dig a little bit deeper of why they need that project. Be like, hey, you have that mobility issues. You really need to get the shower done, Bill.
Yep.
Are you sure there's not anybody else we could add on there? Right.
Correct.
Dig that way. And then if they don't have anybody, that's fine. Always still try to be like, "Hey, I know we couldn't get you approved for the funding you're looking for. Could you put half down on a credit card or
Right.
and half down upon completion?" There's still options out there. Just, try to dig a little bit
Still that
more. Yeah,
opportunity.
exactly.
Still that opportunity. Oh, that's great. That answers a lot of the questions that's been coming through regarding that topic.